Hello again. So what did I do last night on this? I didn't do as much as I wanted to do, but I did still do a fair amount, so I'm quite happy with the progress I made. So I started by unpicking this zip because I want to use this on the panel I was working on last night, but I didn't get as far as putting it in at all. Problem was when I unpicked it is the zip was starting to fray. It was sewn so tightly along this edge that when I unpicked it, the zip actually came away with the piece that I unpicked. But I can, I think, use the rest of the majority of the zip. I might be able to repair this bit or add a patch on top of it, but I'm a bit worried about the strength of it now because there's not so much tape there and it will carry on fraying. Although I might melt it, use a lighter. But I'm hoping to put this zip in tonight. So the main thing I did last night, first of all, I made a pattern piece. I don't often make pattern pieces. I usually just measure out what I want, but this was such an odd shape that I wanted to get it as right as I could. It's not perfect. I used a ruler on some bits and other bits I actually just drew around the bag just to make sure I had the right shape, especially the corners. I couldn't be bothered to work the corners out, so I just drew around them. So I made a pattern piece. If you look at the photos I took last night on my Red Red Robin Facebook page, you'll see more of the stages of this piece. Now, if you own a Jujubee rag, you might know what I'm trying to make with this piece. Okay, so you might guess what I'm trying to do with part of my bag now. This is what took so long. Sewing with mesh is not fun. Not with mesh this wide, with the holes this wide. But I didn't have any other mesh and I didn't really want to order any, so I just used this. But it meant that every stitch I took, the foot on my sewing machine would go inside the holes of the mesh as I was sewing it. It's also really stretchy, and if you've worked with stretchy materials before, you know they're a pain. Basically, it's a pain to sew sometimes. My machine is very limited in what it can do. It doesn't really have different settings, so yeah, it makes it a bit more difficult to sew stretchy materials. But it's done. That's done. It's not as finished as I wanted it to be. I wanted, like I said, to put the zip on, and I wanted to bind the edges. Although, having a bit of time to think about it, I'm not sure if I will bind the edges now. I'm not going to say why. There's also something else I want to add to it, but I can't do that until I decide when I'm going to bind it. But there we go. Okay, so that's it. And on the other side is that piece of lining that washed up so nicely. Also inside there is something else I added. I didn't mention this when I went through my list of things I was going to add. I've added some stabiliser inside. You can't really see it. It's this white stuff just here. It's quite a thick stabiliser. You can hear it. But it means it'll keep its shape a lot better. Without that, it was super floppy. And I had a feel of my BRB, and this part of the BRB was a bit more stable. So I'm glad I added the stabiliser in. But I'll be working on this part again this evening. The zip I ordered arrived today, but that's for a different part of the bag. And we'll get around to that hopefully in the next few days. Okay. So I also want to talk to you today a bit about me. There are a lot of people trying this Jujubee, well, 18 people maybe in total. It's maybe 20 in total because there were 20 boxes. That's how many people are going to be trying this competition. And I just want to say I'm not a professional seamstress. I've never done proper training in sewing, textiles, fashion design, anything like that. I was trained as a teacher, a secondary teacher of design and technology. And although I did a tiny bit of training in textiles, it was more like doing a project you do in school. So it was quite basic projects, just to sort of show you how it's taught in school rather than the skill involved. So while I was training, I made like a bag and a hoodie, but very basic patterns, not really fitted. So I didn't have much training in those. And when I went into school and taught, I specialised in resistant materials, so wood, metals and plastics, and engineering. And the machines and the processes involved in those. So I taught a very little bit of textiles, but in training. I did teach a bit of GCSE and A-level textiles, but again it was more the theory of it, which I learned as I went along. And that's what I'm sort of getting at. I picked up the skills that I learnt as I went along. I'm mostly self-taught. Yeah, I did have that little bit of training, but really it wasn't much. It was more how to use a machine and not much more. So I'm mostly self-taught. I picked up customs work because I really enjoyed doing it. And I started making basic things, started making a quiltlet on Practice Fabric first, then made my first quiltlet from Jujube Fabric, and it went alright. I've never made a massive mistake in anything, but I've definitely improved my work, and the neatness of my work has definitely improved over time. You don't need expensive machines either. You've seen Betsy in the pictures on my Facebook page. Betsy came from a charity shop. I think she was about £20. I do have an electric machine. I don't use it. I haven't got that out for over a year, and I've never used it on Jujube because it's just not strong enough. I prefer my hand-driven old Singer because it gets through the material really nicely, really easily. But as I said before, it does have its limitations. It can't do zigzag stitch, it's only got straight stitch, it doesn't even have reverse. I have to turn the fabric round to do a reverse stitch. So why do I do this? Why have I bought a box of scraps from Jujube? Mainly, well, one reason is I'm a full-time mummy now, and I love being a mummy. But at the end of the day, I need to wind down when my kids hopefully go to sleep. And this really helps me. Having something else to focus on other than them and their lives. Which, like I said, I love doing, but it's me as well. I want to have a focus for me. It helps me keep my brain active. It helps me think things through. And it's a bit of problem solving, which I've always loved doing. But mostly because I enjoy it. I really, really enjoy making things. And I love it when people give me a new challenge and I'm not just making endless quiltlets or endless play packs. I love when somebody says, could you add this in for me? Or could you try and add these straps to this bag in this way? I love that. And I'm willing to give anything a go if I think I can do it. I'd never take anything on that I don't think I could do. So yeah, if you're having a go at this project, just give it your best shot. Even if you're using glue or if you're hand sewing, get creative, put something cool together, and just give it a go. Give it your best, because that's all you can do. So I'm going to do a bit more work tonight again, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. Bye!